The Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro arrived on Tuesday in Ankara, capital of Turkey, as part of the beginning of a Eurasian tour with a cooperation agenda. A new migrant caravan that left the southern border of Mexico Monday heading to the U.S. is still on its way north. The United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, called for increased humanitarian aid to Somalia to prevent excessive infant deaths due to drought in the country. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. The Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro arrived on Tuesday in Ankara, capital of Turkey, as part of the beginning of a Eurasian tour with a cooperation agenda. Earlier, Turkish media announced that the president will travel to the country on June 7 and June 8 on an official visit at the invitation of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who will also try to strengthen ties of brotherhood and union between the two nations. Through his social networks, the Venezuelan head of government had asked to be attentive to the agenda of international activities that he will have in the coming hours. In Peru, the lawyers of President Pedro Castillo have challenged the inquiry by the Public Prosecutor's Office against his client. The president's lawyer, Benjamin Espinosa, said that he introduced an appeal based on precautionary rights after the public ministry read his claims against the preliminary investigations announced last May 29th. The lawyer explains that the Constitution prohibits the prosecution of an incumbent president. On his part, the country's prosecutors, Pablo Sanchez, said that according to the Constitution, an acting president cannot be indicted, but it does not prevent them from being investigated. However, Espinosa explained that even an inquiry is out of the question, which is why he failed the appeal. In Bolivia, the first anti-corruption sentencing court of La Paz has determined a fourth intermission in the trial of the former de facto president Yanin Áñez for the coup d'etat case. The case put forward by the defendant's attorney was an apparent discompensation during the trial. Áñez left her seat in the space set up for the trial at the Miraflores prison, where she is currently being held, so the judge has decided to recess until this Tuesday, 2 p.m. local time. The hearing is which Áñez is facing a request for the prosecutions that could lead her to 15 years in prison. It's being held temporarily by the decision of the judiciary body. After leaving her space, the former de facto president did not come back online, according to her lawyer, because she had to receive medical assistance. Nicaragua moves forward in power coverage with a service extended to more than 99% of the countries by the end of May. According to nation's Minister of Energy and Mines, Salvador Mansell, the figure represents an increase of more than 45% of the coverage since 2006. The minister emphasized since 2007 to date, more than 7,000 projects have been executed to extend the service to the most remote corners of the country, bringing electricity to more than 600,000 homes and almost 4 million Nicaraguans. Mansell highlighted progress made in formerly forgotten regions such as the Caribbean and Rio San Juan, where some $27.71 million are being invested in the installations of solar panels. Jacques Lafontaine, the government commissioner of Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti, has announced that in the early hours of Monday, a new election took place in the office of the Court of First Instance located in the Palace of Justice in the commune of Marisan. According to official statements, the act was carried out by two armed individuals who entered the office of the examining magistrate, Jean Wilner Morin, Inkenson Adume, as well as his own, with the intention of making them resign from their post. In view of the events, Lafontaine assured that he will continue to lead his office and insist on the relocation of the judicial headquarters, which have been attacked for the second time this month and the third time in less than a year. In Havana, the governments of Cuba and Belarus evaluated the process of bilateral ties through political consultations held by the foreign minister of both nations. The meeting was chaired by Cuban Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Anaísa Rodriguez, and her Belarusian counterpart, Agnieszka Shestakov, as part of the celebration of the 30th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Havana and Minsk. During the meeting was noted the interest in expanding and diversifying economic and trade relations between both nations. In this context, the agreements reached within the framework of the visit of the Cuban head of state Miguel Díaz-Canel to Belarus in October 2019 were followed up on, and the willingness to maintain mutual collaboration in international forum, including the United Nations Organization, was ratified. teleSUR expands its signal with new satellite parameters. Since more than ever, the world connects to us and our stories have been heard in other faraway nations. The parameters are in place in June 1st in Latin America and the Caribbean, both in English and in Spanish, and quite soon further changes will be implemented for the signal in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. This new multi-platform will continue providing trustful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative and faithfulness to our audience. We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. A new migrant caravan that left the southern border of Mexico Monday heading to the U.S. is still on its way north. The exodus started off in the southern region of Tapachula, Mexico this Monday, with between 7,000 and 15,000 participants from different countries of Latin America and the world. During the first stage, the caravan advanced more than 8 kilometers and managed to pass the first immigration checkpoint, where some members of the National Guard and Migration were stationed. This new caravan takes place parallel to the Summit of the Americas, which is being held in Los Angeles, to which the United States arrived without fulfilling its promises to Mexico and Latin America to regularize migrants. On Tuesday, the Mexican Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard announced the main issue that Latin American country will bring to the Summit of the Americas, to be held in the U.S. city of Los Angeles. During a press conference, Ebrard said that his country will advocate for the inclusion of all and mutual respect for the future of the Americas. Mexico will insist on investment in several of the regions, Latin America and Caribbean, and labor mobility to confront migration. He will also call on the President of the U.S., Joe Biden, on the need for unity among the countries that make up the region, given the White House refusal to invite Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, which is why López Obrador would not attend the event.
What is it that we're going to propose? First, with regard to the future of the Americas, as our President of the Republic has just said, we have to move towards a new type of organization of the Americas, based on mutual respect and inclusion of all countries. The President has already explained it. I would simply say that this is like the guiding light of our proposal. All countries must be included, all must be respected. We must initiate a new stage in the organization of the Americas in order to search for our union.
Mexican Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard reiterated that the nations participating in the Summit of the Americas reject the blockade imposed on Cuba by the U.S.
Regarding Cuba, we will insist that the blockade is inhuman, contrary to human dignity, ineffective, and has been condemned by all the countries that would be there, all the countries that will be at the summit. We all voted against it except the United States, so we are going to reiterate it and insist.
Russian authorities informed Tuesday about the arrival of 3 cargo ships to the port of Mariupol for the grain shipment to other countries. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said that Mariupol is as well in other territories of Donbass. The activities to establish a peaceful life continue. The official also emphasized that in the presidential area of the city, the water and electricity supply is being restored in stages. The streets are being cleaned. The first social services have started to operate. In this regard, last Sunday, the Russian President Vladimir Putin rejected the accusations of the West about an alleged guilt of Moscow for the inability of Kiev to export grain to other countries. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov began today visit to Turkey from talks of unblocking grain export from Ukraine. This is Lavrov's second trip to Turkey after meeting his Turkish and Ukrainian counterpart Mevlut Cavusoglu and Dmitry Kuleba in Antalya in March 10. Lavrov was forced to cancel a visit to Serbia on Monday after several of its neighbors prevented his plane from passing through their airspace. At the request of the United Nations, Turkey offered its services to escort maritime convoys from Ukraine ports despite the presence of mines, some of which have been detected near the Turkish coast. Lavrov will meet with Cavusoglu on Wednesday. At the heart of the negotiations is the opening of a security corridor to ship Ukrainian cereals and wheat. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said that Moscow's troops are in full control of the residential area of Sardonetsk, a key city in Ukraine's east region of Donbass.
A significant part of the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic along the left bank of the Seversky Donets River has been liberated, including the cities of Svyatogorsk, Krasny Liman, as well as 15 other settlements. The residential areas of the city of Severodonetsk have been fully liberated. We continue to establish control over the city's industrial zone and the nearest settlements.
In Argentina, cargo transportation entities warn about a lack of diesel in the country. According to official statistics, between May 25 and June 25, 19 Argentine provinces presented diesel supplies problems. The fuel shortages is generalized. Cargo transporters claim that the situation has caused more than doubling of the prices of fuel. Analysts warn that the problem generated by the conflict in the Donbass could also affect grain, soybean, and cereal exports. We have more news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, called for an increased humanitarian aid to Somalia to prevent excessive infant deaths due to drought in the country. UNICEF asserted that the financial contributions made so far are equivalent to less than a third of resources required to help the population affected by the drought in Somalia. The institution warned that due to the lack of rainfall and food insufficiency, the number of children suffering from acute and severe malnutrition in the African nation rose by 15% in the last 5 months, and the 386,000 infants need medical attention. According to UNICEF, 1.7 million children suffer from acute and severe malnutrition. Mali's military board said that it has set the transition period at 24 months. A return to civilian rule following double coups in the country will be deployed until March 2024. It is on state television that a spokesman for the transitional authorities read a decree signed by ruler Assimi Goïta. The news comes just a few days after the ECOWAS summit. The regional bloc imposed sanctions on Mali last January, rejecting what they call an unacceptable timetable for the reins of the country to return to the civilian-led government. Mali Parliament approved in February a charter following a 5 years democratic transition. A technological committee of ECOWAS proposed the organization of pools within 12 or 16 months. The regional bloc has yet to commence its official transition period. It will meet again on July the 3rd. Israeli aggressions on Syria continued. The anti-aircraft defense units of the Syrian army have repelled a new attack in the wee hours of this Tuesday. 19 minutes past midnight local time, Israeli forces several miles from the occupied Golan of a field south of Damascus, the Syrian capital. Anti-aircraft defense systems were activated and intercepted most of the hostile missiles, which, according to the military sources, only caused material damages. The air and artillery attacks by Tel Aviv forces have been constant, especially in the recent months. But in Maine alone, there have been such at least 4 such attacks, leaving 5 fatalities and material damages. The government of President Bashar al-Assad had denounced these aggressions as a clear violation of international resolutions. In the midst of a crisis of emergency hospital services and a few days before legislative elections, 9 hospital unions organized demonstrations on Tuesday in France to demand better job conditions and salaries. The General Confederation of Labor and its allies unions staged demonstrations on Tuesday at least 100 cities. In Paris, the French capital, there were demonstrations in front of the Ministry of Health in rejection of the so-called flash mission ordered by the President Emmanuel Macron to address the urgency in the sector. They do not believe in it and demand responsible actions from the state. Health workers claim that July and August will be very difficult months due to staff shortages, especially in emergency services. Tensions are rising in the Korean Peninsula. On Tuesday, the U.S. Deputy Secretary Wendy Sherman endorsed Korea, and she addressed leader Kim Jong-un directly. She said there will be a swift and forceful response if North Korea carries out a nuclear test, which, according to Washington, they have been preparing for months. Mrs. Sherman made a statement at a joint press conference in Seoul with her South Korean counterpart, Seon Yun-dan, and she said any nuclear test organized by Pyongyang will be in violation of United Nations Security Council resolutions. Recently, Washington and Seoul responded to an alleged ballistic missile attack from the north, a version that Pyongyang has yet to confirm or deny. North Korea said their proposes a missile capable of reaching the coast of the United States and that they might use it should be necessary to defend their sovereignty. Pentagon Express have certified the effectiveness of the North Korean weapon. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. But before our farewells, we say goodbye with a song of Es Nuestra América, It's Our America, performed by Nayito Rivera with Alexander Jose Gil Dominguez, Hijo del Sur, and Achilles Rengifo, Aquilin, a melody that celebrates our union as a continent. teleSUR English, and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.
Un canto por la América Unida. Mira, que lo escuchan allá arriba. ¡Vamos! Somos la tierra, somos la arcilla, la esperanza que brota y germina. 500 años nos han pisoteado, aquí seguimos, de aquí no nos vamos. América, 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 lindísimo continente se levanta, pueblo unido que no calla. América, 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 lindísimo continente se levanta, pueblo unido que no calla. Somos gigantes, nadie se rinde, vamos para arriba, esa tierra es tuya y también es mía. Pueblo mestizo, guerrero y solidario, aquí nadie es extraño, aquí somos hermanos.